This type of technology exists right now, and the global implementation of such energy systems could begin tomorrow, thereby freeing mankind of its financial shackles and simultaneously circumventing some of the most pollutive industries on Earth. And such technology could be implemented tomorrow if the people simply did so themselves. To begin the process of change from this current destructive society, there needs to be an immediate and global movement of people. The people need to occupy everything, but in order to do so, they first need to occupy themselves. As a society, we need an immediate and global cancellation of all debt, thereby freeing each person from the clutches of financial terrorism that now hold them. And this should be closely followed by a switch to alternative energy devices such as the carbon energy device demonstrated by Justin Hall. And these steps need to be implemented by the people themselves. It cannot be done from within the legal parameters provided by the current system, as the current system simply will not allow it. It won't allow it because the current system is designed not to service mankind, but rather to protect and sustain itself at mankind's expense. Such a process of change will only ever succeed if it is implemented by the people themselves, regardless of what legislation has been put in place to prevent them from doing so, because legislation is not law. Legislation is simply rules written on pieces of paper by public servants. Rules designed to eradicate actual law from existence and to impose the will of a ruling cartel in its place, to then impose itself upon mankind's very genetic and biological structure to serve a transhumanist agenda designed to enslave the entire human race, while all the wealth of this earth is stolen from them. And the only thing that stands in the way of this program running to its inevitable conclusion are the people themselves. But the biggest killer, the wielder of the ultimate power against mankind, the most all-pervasive force that has kept the people of the world enslaved for so long, is fear. People often talk about the need to adopt an attitude of love, and in many ways they do so, but then through inner fear, they fail to apply it to reality around them. Each should ask themselves, if suffering exists in the world around me and I fail to address it, then am I really in a state of love and service to creation, or am I simply in a state of fear and denial of reality? Admittedly, it is often difficult for people to see through the haze, not only for people who are now beginning to see how the world works, but also for others who have been long active and yet unwittingly only focusing on a symptom rather than on the actual problem. And this is because when you look at all the little symptoms, it's chaos and far too difficult for most people to really make anything out, because nothing really makes sense. It's just a barrage of information and of disinformation. It doesn't begin to make any real sense until you begin to look at things holistically, and then it all falls neatly into place. Though often, even when the real problem is clearly seen, most people simply point the finger and fail to see the actual solution. It is time for each person on this planet to remember who and what you are, and to never lose focus of the fact that government was created by mankind in order to service mankind's needs, not the other way around. So you must always question authority. If someone in fancy dress interferes with your ability to be yourself to your fullest potential, if you have always respected others and there is no injured party from your actions, then you should always question what right anyone has to compel you to perform any action or to make any demands of you at all. As more and more rules are put into place, mankind is becoming increasingly more regimented. We now find police officers stationed on school grounds, as what was once a childhood prank and part of growing up is now often seen as a breach of law, a crime. Self-expression is frowned upon unless it is carried out under strict supervision. And at the rate our regulatory bodies are going, eventually society will no longer tolerate any individuality at all. Eventually, it will be illegal to even think outside of the box. Essentially, illegal to be truly human. The truth of the matter is that the people of this world are, even now, living in a very low-security open-air prison. And the only ones who can implement the positive change required to escape it and to pave the way for a free humanity are the people themselves. The solution has been there all along, for the solution lies with the people. It has always lain with the people, and all that is really required for mankind to escape from the prison that enslaves us is for people to realise the truth of the invisible bars that surround their minds, and to realise that the bars are only there due to people's belief that the system is real. The only reason you have to pay land rates, pay taxes, succumb to the will of greedy corporations, and adhere to legislation created by corrupt government bodies and designed to remove your liberties. The only reason all the modern world finds itself in a position where it is virtually enslaved by public servants is because you live in a divided society, and to people's failure to build common unity within their community, to get to know their neighbours, to support each other, and to see each other as valid. People have been taught to judge others by their differences, to play the blame game, to point the finger at another, and to voice their anger for their hardships and feel that they have achieved something, when by doing so they are simply perpetuating the division and effectively missing the actual problem altogether. Our leaders have replaced true and natural law with a set of rules of their own contrivance, and these rules have served to rob mankind of our earth and of our heritage. And we the people, the 99%, are truly the only ones who have the power to effect positive change. An alternative way of doing things, a system that empowers and frees the populace, will never be implemented via the means of the system that currently enslaves them. There is no legal remedy, no remedy in politics, no remedy in government. There can and will only ever be remedy found in natural law and in a population willing to honour it. And so now, more than ever, it is time for mankind to act and to clearly understand who we are. The most important thing we can do in the present moment is to realise that we each have the ability to peacefully but firmly stand to stop the further destruction of our water table and to prevent the rest of the transhumanist infrastructure from being put into place, and most importantly, to connect with our community and to lead by example in all that we do. And together we can easily reclaim our heritage and our birthright. But it will not be done while there is judgment or accomplished through violent revolution. Nor are they needed, because all it would take is mutual respect and a united act of non-compliance to a fictional system that enslaves the minds of almost all who inhabit this world due to people's belief that the system is real.
Civil disobedience is not something outside the realm of democracy. Democracy requires civil disobedience. Without civil disobedience, democracy does not exist.
You see, the solution lies with each of us. It lies with me, and it lies with you. And it lies in a simple choice between love and fear. Indeed, the path to remedy, the path to positive change, the path to alter the direction the ship of state is now sailing is right at our feet. All that is required is to take the first step. In Lakesh.
It's quite comical, actually, when you realize the difference between reality and what some people are talking on TV about.
You took the mark of the devil just so you can eat and breathe, bow down at the feet and surrendered liberty. tyranny and terror, corrupted dictators, posing as your leaders while they poison every leader, pumping fluoride in the water while they rape Iraqi daughters, dumbing down the public, fashion magazines and fodder. Now they slaughter weaker nations, faulty explanations, selling fear to the masses, terror level elevations, revelations is unfolding right before your eyes. Wake up in a fever camp, drugged and hypnotized, Fourth Reich's taking over while you focus on your bling, but I bet by this point you haven't heard a damn thing. It's destruction by design, prophesized in every scripture. Take a big step back, see the whole picture. A distraction of the mind to keep you living in a bubble.
We're in a lot of trouble because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be better for truth?
Problem, action, reaction, solution. It's time to wake up to the formulas they're using. State-sponsored terror to burn our constitution. Weapons of mass deception of the media delusions. Using double speak to keep you following like sheep. CNN and Fox News to keep the populace asleep. Never looking, never question why we're headed towards recession. The dollar's worth a nickel, but we're ruled by our possession. I mentioned that those towers fell in less than an hour. Ignorance is bliss, the source of the power. But they'll cower in the shadows if we all wake up and see that the land that we're living in is nothing close to free. It's destruction by design, prophesized in every scripture. Take a big step back, see the whole picture. A distraction of the mind to keep you living in a bubble.
We're in a lot of trouble. So you listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you even think like the tube. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
Now you're living as a slave, high-tech police state. Warrantless searches and waterboarding and waste. Mandatory vaccines to keep you sedated. Big brother on the screen to keep the public isolated. Conspiracy theories, now conspiracy facts. Thought crimes condemned like terroristic attacks. Every time you take a breath, you pay another tax. Every time you take a step, it's documented and tracked. It's whack how we're living, the planet's a prison. You should've listened up and questioned 9/11. Declared a revolution, defend our constitution. A public execution of corrupted institutions. It's destruction by design, prophesized in every scripture. Take a big step back, see the whole picture. A distraction of the mind to keep you living in a bubble.
We're in a lot of trouble.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to... If China were to revalue its currency, or China is to start making, say, toys that don't have lead in them, or food that isn't poisonous, their costs of production are going to go up, and that means prices at Walmart here in the United States are going to go up too.
People out there in our nation don't have that, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa.
First, a Fox News alert. Coalition forces have discovered 500 chemical munitions in Iraq.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack.
And how is Ron Paul's number so high? Clearly, some online communities are messing with the outcome.
Live, all hell is breaking loose on 6th Avenue. You need a permit to protest or demonstrate here in New York. But this anarchist group came forward. They really are one of the least attractive groups of demonstrators I've ever seen. I bet one of the leaders, I guess, if violence breaks out, don't worry, we can handle it. Our Fox News team can take this bunch of, I don't want to use any foul language, but